Hello and welcome back to the Battle Room. My name is, of course, the Battle Room, and today I am joined by 5 teams that I think are just perfect for beginners. Now, obviously, when we talk about Pokemon teams, they're an integral part of the entire process of actually playing the game. Teams are everything. They determine your playstyle, they determine whether you win or lose. I think a lot of the time going into a competitive Pokemon tournament, teams decide more than 50% of your result, right? Like, you can play amazing on the day, but if your team is just a terrible meta call or just bad in general, you won't succeed. Simply put, you will not succeed. So I feel like a lot of people put a huge emphasis on teams and finding a really, really strong or good team. But a lot of the good teams can be very frustrating or hard to learn, or just they might not click with you. So today I wanted to feature 5 teams that I think are really, really good for beginner players or people that are just starting out. Obviously, Pokemon Champions has brought a ton of people into the game, and I think obviously taking the best team or a really, really good team can be very, very beneficial, but at the same time, it can also be very confusing and very hard to learn those teams or what they do. So today I have 5 teams for you that I consider pretty beginner friendly. Obviously, some of them are going to still require some good play or good positioning, like you have to kind of understand what you're doing, but I think a lot of them have very, very strong, good, concrete modes that you can easily abuse as you're trying to get your footing with this new team. So we got 5 teams today. I'm going to break down each team. There's obviously a replica code for each team, but I'm also going to include a battle where I feature the team just to give you a little bit of hands-on experience. Personally, myself, I'm more of a visual learner, so when it comes to actually playing with the team, it helps for me to see someone play it, right? Like to show me some leads, show me some game plans. So yeah, I wanted to include that as well. If you want to just skip through the teams, go for it. If you want to click on a specific team, go ahead as well. I don't really mind. All I care about is trying to help you become a better player. So today we have Rain, Hard Trick Room, a Froslass team, a Protect the Archaludon team, and then a Sun team. So all these teams I find to be pretty solid, pretty good, and I think they will help you climb in this new season of Pokemon Champions. But before we hop into those teams, I'd really appreciate it if you could sub. The bigger number makes me feel better, so that's all I'm asking. If you sub, if you like the video, I appreciate it greatly. Now let's hop into some teams. So the first team I'm going to share with you today is a team based around Trick Room Gengar and Mega Blastoise. So this team has kind of 2 functioning modes, but for the most part you can rely very heavily on Blastoise and Gengar mode. So what you're mainly going to do here is you're going to lead Blastoise next to Gengar. And the main idea is that you want to set up Trick Room nearly every single time. All of our Pokemon are trained very, very slow outside of the Scarf Archaludon, which helps kind of bluff that the team is not what it is. So we're kind of giving vibes that this could be a potential Perish Song team. We're giving vibes that it's like a Heavy Rains team, and Trick Room is just not on our opponent's minds. Now, obviously, this team has been shown around a lot. It was used by a Japanese player to reach 2440 on the ladder, which is very, very high, deep into Champions tier at this point. So it was a very, very well constructed team, and it just tricks a lot of people. But I think even still, it's a great team to kind of learn how to play the format on, and I think that you'll be able to trick a lot of people and find great success, even if they know about the gimmick, because I think it is so strong. So again, the main idea, Blastoise and Gengar. You're going to fake out in Trick Room almost every single time. Fake out is obviously going to flinch them, and then Trick Room, it's going up, because if you fake out a Pokemon, they very rarely can kill Gengar through his Focus Sash. They would need something like, I don't know, Triple Axle or something. I just don't even know if it's currently possible to one-shot Gengar with Sash in this format. So he can reliably set up Trick Room because he's a Ghost type as well. So he just works wonders here. So you lead those 2, and then most of the time Gengar can get another attack off. He can put on a lot of damage. But the big thing is Blastoise can start to do a ton of damage. So he's a 0-speed Blastoise, which in this format, he can outspeed a lot of Pokemon and catch a lot of people off guard. Mainly on turn 2, you can consider switching in Politoed to set up the Rain for a Rain-boosted Water Spout, or you can just attack with Gengar. From there, the game is your playground. You can do whatever you want. Usually I bring Blastoise and Gengar as leads with Politoed and Sylveon in the back. And usually that just kind of works. Now, obviously, there is a Talonflame and Archaludon on the team, who we'll touch on a little bit later, but Politoed and Sylveon are just so good, right? Politoed has Muddy Water, Weather Ball, Ice Beam for just really, really strong coverage, but very importantly, it also is 0 speed with a Rain Dance, which means it underspeeds our Blastoise. So even if they Mega Evolve with Charizard, Tyranitar, or press Priority Sunny Day, we don't care. we're going to press Rain Dance, and Blastoise is going to do some insane damage with Water Spout. You always have weather control because of that, and I think it's just incredible. I think a lot of the time you do want to try to switch in Politoed early to get the rain, and also to have that threat of Rain Dance to break some of those annoying weather setters in the current format. Sylveon is also just a great spread move user. All of these Pokemon, like 3 of our Pokemon, just have spread moves in Muddy Water, Hyper Voice, and Water Spout. So we're just trying to output as much damage as humanly possible. Substitute is a very cute move to use on the last turn of Trick Room, because since Trick Room reverses the order of the Pokemon, on that last turn, when they're trying to stall it out, pressing a substitute can be very, very huge if you're predicting a double protect. But most of the time, you will just kind of win in those 5 turns, or you've done so much damage that the natural bulkiness of Politoed, Blastoise, Sylveon is able to win on that final turn. That's usually how the games play out, in my opinion. Now, Talonflame and Archaludon are not worthless. They can be brought. You can try to go, another mode that you can try to use is Talonflame plus Blastoise, fake out Tailwind, just start pressing Water Spouts, but you have to be very, very careful, and you have to know your speed tiers very well. Blastoise is really slow, but even still, he does hit 100 and, what is that, 176, I think? So that's still pretty good. Like, all things considered, that's still pretty good. He'll outspeed a lot of the metagame, but some of the very, very fast Pokemon like Sneasler or Aerodactyl will still outspeed you, so you have to be a little bit careful. Also, the Politoed, usually you bring like Politoed and Archaludon in the back. Archaludon can get going crazy with Electro Shots, just firing them off in the rain. And then Politoed can still also kind of abuse Tailwind as well, because he does have a naturally pretty high speed. But again, I think you don't really need to use that game plan that much. I think I used it like one time in like the 20 games I played with this team. So most of the time you can just lead Gengar, Blastoise, and just start dealing damage. I think this is a really good team for beginners, just because it allows you to try to, get a feel for Trick Room, but you also have a huge advantage because your opponents don't necessarily know what you're doing, because your team is so unorthodox. So I'm a huge fan of this team. It works even at the highest levels. So now if you want to see a game of me using the team, that's going to be here. All right, so into this matchup, we're going to be basically doing the default strategy that we always do with this team, which is Gengar plus Blastoise with Politoed and Sylveon in the back. Now, even in this matchup specifically, it does seem a little bit scary. We have an enemy weather setter. We have a lot of Pokemon that just resist Blastoise, but we're able to just try to get as much damage as we possibly can with his amazing coverage. So this is what we're, this is what we're going to lead in this. We're going to do. This is, again, the default mode that I think most games will hopefully play out with. This is just on high Master Ball ladder, so I'm just trying to showcase it out in the field in action with the team. All right, so we've got 2,300, so they're a little bit higher than us, but I kind of feel like this matchup is going to go really great for us. So we're going to see Aegislash and Victory Bell. So usually when you're playing with this team, the main goal is obviously setting up Trick Room. All of our Pokemon are very, very slow, and that's not really going to change here. We're going to lead Trick Room, and since we can't fake out Aegislash, we're going to fake out Victory Bell. Also, usually when it comes to this turn 1, a lot of the times you just want to fake out whatever is the most threatening to Blastoise less than Gengar, right? Because Gengar has a Focus Sash, so we just want to keep Blastoise as safe as possible. We don't care about Gengar at all. So in this case, obviously we can only fake out one, but still, the sentiment still stands. Slowing down, grass moves, Sleep Powder, all that stuff. Sometimes also you want to look for things like Taunt or potential. I mean, Taunt's really the big one. I guess in Prison Trick Room, you can't really usually fake out Friggraph, but yeah, just stopping anything. Like if you can see Taunt, or Sleep Powder, there we go. That's something that you want to look out for. And usually you just always Mega Blastoise turn 1. There's no reason not to. He just gets really, really tanky. And so we're going to hit that fake out button. There is some cool plays you can make. Okay, so we do. Okay, stance change, that's fine. Victory Bell is faster, that's fine. Like, there are some plays that you can, like, not attack, or you don't have to set up Trick Room turn 1. But, like, most of the time it's just so worth it. Like, especially in this case, right? Like, it is so annoying. If we messed up, we just wouldn't have our Sash, and then that annoying Aegislash would be able to KO us, stop our Trick Room. So usually I think with this team, it's very simple. Set up Trick Room. And sometimes they don't see it coming because you are using such a weird and obscure team, right? So now, usually on this turn, you have to kind of think, like, do I just let Gengar go down? What do we do? They could Mega the Victory Bell as well. That is something to note. What's really nice about Politoed is it does have Rain Dance as well. So switching in your weather doesn't feel the worst sometimes. If you just want to get that big damage. Now, obviously, they have Ninetales, which makes this a little bit different. I imagine we're just getting Snuck. I don't really want to lose Gengar. I don't think we need to. I think we realistically can just switch into Politoed here, and I'm going to fire off a Dark Pulse into Aegislash. I want to remove Aegislash. Water Spout would be fine, but I am also afraid of the Poltergeist going into my Blastoise, or potentially this slow Victory Bell. But I actually really don't know Victory Bell's speed. I also don't want to hit this guy. I don't want to one-shot him. I mean, I don't think we can really one-shot him. Okay, let's see. What are they going to do? I imagine it's just like Shadow Sneak, right? It's going to be Shadow Sneak. They don't know their speed. But Gengar is still naturally a very fast Pokemon, so even mid-speed Gengar is not doing that great. And now we're going to hopefully get a KO here. We do get a KO. Awesome. That's a good turn. We remove Aegislash, so now in the future, Gengar might be able to do something. And then what is a Victory Bell going to do? It's going to go for Leaf Storm. I think he should be able to live this, right? No, he doesn't. He doesn't at all. That's okay, though. Not a huge deal. I'm not, like, super mad about that. I kind of wish I just Water Spouted for the damage. I think that was definitely a slight mistake, but nonetheless. I think when in doubt, Water Spout is pretty much good advice to live by, and I should be following my own advice, but now I'm bestowing it upon to you. But Politoed is lit here, because Politoed, again, he has Rain Dance, he has Ice Beam, he does a lot of damage, and like even if they send in Ninetales here, I'm not too mad about it, because we can just press Hyper Voice plus Weather Ball and put ourselves in a really, really good spot. So Sylveon is going to come in here, and they're going to send in Ninetales, presumably. It's actually going to be Hydreigon. Wow. Okay. Don't mind if I do. So now we can just go for Ice Beam and Hyper Voice. We're in that flow state, right? Like, you just kind of need to be paying attention for wide guards. I think Trick Room in this format is just so disgusting to deal with, and I think this team does a really good job of faking it so that they don't necessarily see it coming, and then they don't necessarily bring the right Pokemon. And that's why this has been one of my favorite teams to ladder with. It did shoot me up the ladder as well earlier in the season, so I really only have nice things to say. I'm curious if this will actually kill Victory Bell. I don't know this Pokemon's stats, like, even a little bit. I just know that you're not supposed to one-shot it. So Hydreigon's actually going to double back out into Ninetales, which is fine. We pressed Ice Beam. I did think about going for Weather Ball, but I didn't want to get too fancy. I don't think we needed to. Hyper Voice should do, like, negative. Okay, it didn't do a lot. They are at -2. Sleep Powder is the scariest thing that they can do to us, though. How much is this going to do, though? Okay, he does live, unfortunately. We're in such a good spot. Okay, they go for Sludge Bomb. I don't care about that at all, dude. I do not care. And now the beauty of this team and the beauty of this Politoed is that we have Rain Dance. So now we're able to freely just press Rain Dance, and we just press Hyper Voice. Yeah, it's beautiful. They don't have anything they can switch in. If Victory Bell goes down, it's not going to do that much damage to us with its ability. And if Hydreigon comes in, he is KO'd. This was actually a really good example of how this team's supposed to go. So Hyper Voice is going to get that KO. Here's the huge innards out, dude. It's going to do so much damage. No! 4 damage. I wonder if we could have even just KO'd Ninetales. I think we could have. But also, Rain Dance is just so safe, right? Like, it's just so good. Also, at this point, I think they're going to struggle to even KO Sylveon and Politoed here. They're actually going to disable my Hyper Voice, but that's not a huge deal. I think the cool part about the Sylveon set specifically is that it has Moonblast, so we have a single target move to just smack him around. And this Politoed is so bulky. Like, a lot of times he can just win endgames by himself. So then we just go for a Weather Ball. We don't want to miss. We have Muddy Water. We'll go for Moonblast as well. We'll go for Weather Ball because we don't want to miss, but Muddy Water is a great move as well. Having a spread water move on the Toad feels incredible, let me tell you. So they're going to protect Ninetales. We don't really care at this point. If they don't protect Hydreigon, we just win, which I kind of think they might be Scarf and they feel like they're safe. But we're going to hit them with that Moonblast, 4 times super effective. It is not Sash. He is out of here, and the game is over. I think this was just a great example. You fake out something, you set up Trick Room, and then you have 3 Pokemon with spread moves who do tons of damage. And in certain matchups as well, this one we didn't really get to show Gengar off, but sometimes Gengar is able to just take over the game by himself if they leave him alone. They're more afraid of Blastoise, stuff like that. It can get really dicey, and he can just do a ton of damage with Stab, Sludge Bomb, Shadow Balls, and even a cheeky little Psychic. So we're going to raise ourselves up to 2277, which feels good. But yeah, I think this was just a good example of how to use this team. So the next team I wanted to offer you is a hard Trick Room team. I think personally, hard Trick Room is one of the best ways to learn this game, in my opinion. I've played this game for 14 years, and 15 years actually. And the first team I ever used was Hard Trick Room, and I tried to master it for years until I eventually moved on. But I think just as like a very easy and like it's just very easy to digest. It's very easy to learn how to do win cons and what I should focus on to try and win. And it's just a great way to learn competitive Pokemon. I'm a huge fan of Hard Trick Room. It's gotten much better over the years, but I think the foundational skills that you get from it do just carry over to any team you're using. It just kind of lets you cheat because you don't need to memorize speeds or understand speeds as well as if you're using a Tailwind team or some sort of balancy team that doesn't have speed control. So I think Hard Trick Room, it's got a very focused and dedicated strategy that your opponent has to respect. It may be telegraphed, but that doesn't matter because of how strong it can be. So basically, this team is just all about setting up Trick Room. Very similar to the last team, but this one is just very much tried and true. And I did want to feature this team as well, just because I think that Hard Trick Room as an archetype is just so valuable to new players. So the main idea here is we're leading Froslass every single game, no matter what. And then we have one of two options. It's very flowcharty in a way of what we're trying to do. So Froslass is being led. It's setting up Trick Room for us. It has really strong moves to do damage with its stab attacks, but then it also has Rain Dance to support Blastoise. So we could lead Blastoise Froslass, which means we're just going to plus Fake Out plus Trick Room, or we could lead Kangaskhan plus Froslass, which means we're going to press Fake Out plus Trick Room. Sometimes in these formats, you know, you might need Follow Me, you might need Rage Powder, but I think right now, Fake Out Trick Room is enough to reliably get it up almost every single time. So Kangaskhan is a very simple Pokemon here. You're just pressing Fake Out, you're setting up Trick Room, and then the way Last Resort works is you're only able to use that move after you've used all of your other moves, but since Kangaskhan has two moves, that's all it needs, right? So you're going to press Fake Out, and then you're able to spam Last Resort until the end of the game. Important thing to note, if you do switch it out, you do have to press Fake Out again to start using Last Resort. But Last Resort is an incredibly strong and powerful move that just enables Kangaskhan to start sweeping in Trick Room. And I think that's what makes these teams so annoying, is that like you have Froslass to reliably set up Trick Room, who also blocks all priority moves like Fake Out. So you have the guaranteed Fake Out to set up Trick Room. But then on turn 2, your Fake Out user, whether it's Blastoise or Kangaskhan, can start dealing incredible and insane damage. And then our last 3 Pokemon are just sweepers. There's nothing too crazy to talk about. Like Sylveon, it's got that spread Hyper Voice, Moonblast, and Substitute for those consistent strong attacks. We have Canerupt, who is just trying to do as much fire damage as possible. And then we have King Gambit with Supreme Overlord, who again is just trying to bring that big physical dark type damage to the table. Everything is trained just max HP, max special attack. That was one of the reasons I fell in love with Hard Trick Room when I first started out. It just makes so much sense. Like, why would I want to invest any stats into speed when I can just have max bulk and max damage and I can just win games? It just seems broken. So that's the main thing you're trying to do. There's obviously a ton of nuance to Hard Trick Room, and it can get really technical and beautiful, and it can be you can make some really insane, incredible plays with Hard Trick Room. But at the end of the day, it is a very simple and good team to learn how to play competitive Pokemon on, because you're pressing Fake Out plus Trick Room almost every single game. Lead-wise, we're just leading Kangaskhan Froslass or Blastoise Froslass, and I think you can just bring anything in the back. Now, granted, I probably wouldn't bring both Blastoise and Canerupt, but like if you're leading Blastoise, I would probably bring like Sylveon and King Gambit in the back. But if I'm leading Kangaskhan, I can totally bring either Mega to help enable me. Sometimes I think the skill of these teams is just trying to figure out how to win in the allotted 5 turns, or admitting that you're not going to win in 5 turns and then making sure you have enough HP or resources to get through maybe one more turn, or to set up another Trick Room if you want to reposition your Fake Out user. But yeah, Hard Trick Room, it's just so satisfying and fun to use. So let's hop into an example game. All right, so with Hard Trick Room here, we're playing against Lopunny and their own Froslass, which is actually really annoying. That's very scary, but I think we can make it work. Low-key, I'm really tempted to also bring Canerupt here. Let's try Kangaskhan plus Froslass again. The main thing we're doing here is we're always putting Froslass first, right? Like Froslass is always being led. And then it's like, which Fake Out user? I kind of like Mega Kangaskhan because we can put a lot of pressure, but I do worry, maybe Mega Kangaskhan isn't it, because if we lead Mega Kangaskhan, it's going to be pretty vulnerable to their Mega Lopunny lead, which I'm kind of expecting them as an anti-Trick Room lead to lead like Lopunny plus their own Froslass. So leading Kangaskhan might actually be a death sentence for us. We could bait in certain moves, but it probably just isn't worth it. So we'll probably just lead Blastoise. We just want to lead those Fake Out users. Obviously, you don't always have to lead Fake Out plus Trick Room, but usually I'd recommend it. It's not a set in stone thing. I think in the back, though, Sylveon plus King Gambit can really sweep and carry this game. So I think Canerupt is a good bring, but since I'm bringing Mega Blastoise, I don't really want to bring Blastoise and Canerupt. Just mainly because they're kind of pushing me off of the Kangaskhan lead with Lopunny here. So we're going to see they're 2359. Can we get to 2300 in this game? In this example game. All right, we're going to see Sylveon plus Vivillon. Oh, that's so lit. I'm so down for this. This is so good for us. Okay. That's fine. So we're going to set up Trick Room. And then the goal here is we're going to try to fake out Vivillon. Obviously, they could have a potential Friggraph swap in here. But if they swap in Friggraph and I have to go to sleep, so be it. It's just kind of the nature of what we're dealing with here. They're going to let us fake out, though. He doesn't have an ability that stops fake out, right? But yeah, like, again, this team is just very simple in how it's executed, and that's just what makes it fun. So we're going to get the fake out off. Good. And Vivillion's going to flinch. Perfect. And they're going to go for Calm Mind. Now, that is a little bit scary, but at the same time, I'm not super pressed about it because we do have our boy King Gambit in the back who is designed to just take out Sylveon, right? With that steel coverage, we got Iron Head. So we do have that coverage there. Friggraph also didn't take damage, so the sash is not broken. So I'm just going to go... It's kind of a hard call because Sylveon is naturally a pretty slow Pokemon. So Blastoise might not outspeed it, but it also could be trained speedy. So it's kind of hard on what we hard to call what we want to do. So I'm not going to go for Rain Dance, and instead I'm going to go for Hyper Voice plus Water Spout. This is mainly because I want to make sure Vivillon goes down. So we're going for this just in case Sylveon is slower than Blastoise. So Hyper Voice is obviously going to go first. It's going to do so much damage, and Blastoise is slower. So I could have went for a Water Spout, Rain Dance Water Spout, but at the same time, I just didn't want to risk it. Really good to know because all of our Pokemon are so slow. Now we know that the other guys are definitely slower than the Sylveon as well, so we are chilling here. They're going to fire back with a Hyper Voice of their own. It's obviously going to do a lot of damage. But yeah, not a bad turn. You want to take as many KOs as humanly possible. They're going to send in Basculegion, who we don't really care about. Sylveon is a little bit scary still. I think I'm just going to double him with... It's hard to say. We could go for Psychic plus Dragon Pulse. I don't know if that will even kill. I do kind of want to get a little bit more damage onto Sylveon, because then it will be in range maybe of our own Hyper Voice as well. That is an option. We took too much damage to press anything else, though, unfortunately. We also have to be a little bit afraid. They still could have Friggraph. Basculegion just isn't really scary to our team. I'm actually going to go for Hyper Voice plus Water Spout here. Another big thing about hard Trick Room teams is you do kind of have to get... you kind of got to make some reads, right? Like, we're seeing Basculegion press Protect here, which is totally fine. But you need to give yourself an edge wherever you can. And a lot of the times, the skill of hard Trick Room teams is just reading what your opponent is doing so you can consistently keep the pressure up and keep the damage coming. Because if I got this turn wrong and I doubled into Basculegion, I'm just losing progress. So it can be a little bit tricky to play in that regard. Like, it isn't the easiest team in the world to play, but I still think as you're playing, like, there are certain things you're able to call out from your opponent and start to understand about how your opponent may want to play the game or what they think is important to keep alive. And in this case, we kind of just realized, hey, I don't care if Basculegion attacks because I can deal with him with King Gambit. The real threat is Sylveon, so I want to get his Sylveon as low as possible so I'm able to continue to sweep this game. So we're just keeping that pressure on. We lost 2 Pokemon, but we just simply don't care. We have Supreme Overlord on King Gambit as well, so now we have this amazing pin where we just press Hyper Voice plus Kowtow Cleave, and we have 2 turns of Trick Room left, so there's nothing they can do. They have to lose 2 Pokemon in this situation, because I don't think they have a single Pokemon on their team that can survive a Kowtow Cleave plus Hyper Voice, and so we're just chilling here. There's nothing they can do. They can press Aqua Jet, sure. You can hit Sylveon for 60 damage. Meet Kowtow Cleave, Basculegion. He's out of here. Oh, just kidding. He's not out of here, but that's okay. We covered it up. We hit the pass here to Sylveon. Sylveon's gonna finish this guy off here with the Hyper Voice. I think the scariest Pokemon they could have is like maybe Dragonite. Maybe Dragonite could be a little bad, like with extreme speed plus quick attack. But even then, I don't think Sylveon's gonna faint to that. It's actually gonna be Lopunny. Okay, that's fine. So right here, they're going to press Fake Out into one of our Pokemon, and then we're probably into our Sylveon, right? And then we're just going to go for Iron Head to finish off their Sylveon. I think we might be good. This is the strength of King Gambit, though. This could get a little dicey in the end game here. But also, Lopunny's a very weird Pokemon. Lopunny's very weird because sometimes they don't run. They can opt to not run normal moves. They could opt to run something else. They probably have to fake out our Sylveon in this turn, so this turn is good. If they don't fake out Sylveon, they do just die to Hyper Voice. So I think Ironhead should get there, but I'm not sure. I'm a little bit afraid here. I'm a little bit afraid we might lose to Lopunny in the late game. If they got a double protect, it would have been very bad as well, but they don't get it. They're going to fake out. That is super fair. We're going to go for Ironhead. Sylveon down. So now it is a 1v2. And again, this is a little tricky, right? Because they could go for... It's kind of a weird 50-50. I'm not sure how much Ironhead does. Like, do we think Ironhead plus Sucker Punch kills Lopunny? I think so. But what we could do here is detect Sylveon and then just press Ironhead with King Gambit. And if they attack Sylveon, we definitely win the game. But I'm going to just go for Hyper Voice in case they read that and go for CC into King Gambit. Because again, we aren't Triple Berry. We're just Black Glasses to deal the most damage. But I think Ironhead plus Sucker Punch should kill Lopunny. I'm kind of just banking on it. All right, they're actually going to go for Triple Axle. I guess that works. That's just going to kill Sylveon regardless. So they have Triple Axle, probably close combat. So my play would have worked there. We could have just protected, but let's see it. How much is Ironhead going to do? Oh, that did so much damage. We do have a little bit of an awkward Sucker Punch mind game, but I think we just slam it here. It's a little bit scary, but it kind of depends on their moves. If they have like Encore or something, we could potentially lose. Okay, Sucker Punch is going to come through, and that will definitely kill because we have the boost from Supreme Overlord. So that was a pretty good example. I can't complain. That was a good example of how hard Trick Room is supposed to function. It's just all about keeping your foot on the gas and then making sure you're able to navigate that end game, right? Like Trick Room ended, but because we had King Gambit alive, and we had Sylveon alive, there wasn't much they could do to stop us. So we just cruised into 2300. And we had a really good example of how hard Trick Room is supposed to work. So the next team I have for you is a little bit harder than the last two, but it's still a pretty easy and good way to get your feet wet into Pokemon Champions, and that is going to be a Mega Froslass team. Now, Mega Froslass has fallen a little bit out of favor, but I think Mega Froslass is still a very, very strong Pokemon, and it's just very kind of straightforward in how you're supposed to approach each matchup. So the main idea here is Froslass is very, very fast and very, very bulky. And with the snow that it's able to set, because when it Mega Evolves, it does bring snow. I think it's still snow warning, but it is going to bring the snow down. So which that will raise Froslass's defense stat, which is its weakest stat, and it will also allow it to use Aurora Veil. Once you set up Aurora Veil, it's very, very hard for your opponent to actually deal with your Pokemon, and it just kind of makes everything on your team so incredibly bulky. Obviously, there's a lot of Pokemon here. They're just really strong, hard-hitting guys. Like, basically everything just does big damage. Obviously, Milotic has a little bit of a more of a supportive moveset with Icy Wind and Life Dew. It's able to heal your guys, which is also very, very good. And Icy Wind does provide speed control. Sneasler helps enable your Froslass to set up those Aurora Veils with Fake Out. But then the other three guys are just damage dealers. Dragonite is very, very important as it allows you to have a really good matchup into Sun teams specifically. So he is very important in that matchup. He's also very bulky with Multiscale and Aurora Veil. I feel like this team is just really good for beginners because it allows you to just bulk down and just kind of damage trade better than your opponent because you have Aurora Veil and they most likely don't. It also uses all of the strong, very popular Pokemon in the metagame currently. So picking up this team is just going to help you out a ton, learning about Basculegion, learning about King Gambit, and learning about Sneasler. I'm going to break down every Pokemon individually just so you have a better grasp because the other teams had a very central strategy. It was very straightforward, where this one is a little bit more flexible. So again, Froslass, you have Blizzard for that big damage, Shadow Ball for your stab, Ghost move, and Aurora Veil. That is the most important move on here, and that's the one we're going to be clicking as much as possible. Well, just once, but every single match we want to press that move. King Gambit is very strong in the metagame. He threatens a lot of Pokemon like Basculegion, and this King Gambit is actually trained quite speedy, so it allows you to outspeed other King Gambits because Frostlass's biggest annoyance is King Gambit and Incineroar, and this King Gambit is designed to help you with those. Having that speed makes you outspeed most of them. Low kick can hit both of them super effectively. And because you have a ton of speed, you actually do feint to Sneasler close combat. But if you set up Aurora Veil, that is no longer a problem. Just something important to keep in mind that close combat can still kill through Triple Berry if you don't have Aurora Veil. Sneasler is going to be one of your bread and butter leads. You're going to lead Sneasler Froslass. You're going to press Fake Out Aurora Veil. That's very easy, very good strategy. Now, you do have to be a little bit worried about enemy weathers, but for the most part, that is a very, very strong and consistent lead into a lot of teams. Basculegion here is just a cleanup in the end game. He has a Focus Sash, so he's very, very hard to kill. and he's just super obnoxious and hard to deal with, right? Like, you have to hit him twice. He's very potent, very powerful. He does a lot of damage with adaptability boosted Last Respects. He's just kind of a late game sweeper because Last Respects in the late game, after each Pokemon faints, it increases its base power by 50, so it's just really strong. Liquidation is really good. Aqua Jet is your priority move. Just a really good set. Milotic is mainly here just to kind of bulk down, also threaten competitive into enemy Incineroars, but just kind of gives you that Icy Wind and Life Dew. It's just hard to KO. It just lives forever. I think Milotic is incredible. And then again, Dragonite is your answer into Sun Team specifically, but in general, he provides a lot of utility. He does so much damage with Dragon Claw. He has priority move and extreme speed. Low Kick is great into enemy King Gambits, who again is a huge threat. And then Tailwind is just really good speed control that can kind of put your team over the edge. So lead wise, I would say like Sneasler, Froslass is very, very good. Into any non-weather team, but also even into stuff like Rain. I think Sneasler plus Dragonite is an incredible lead into Sun specifically. It puts on a ton of pressure. You're able to just press Fake Out and Tailwind and just start dealing as much damage as humanly possible. Very good into Aerodactyl as well. I think Aerodactyl teams really hate to see Dragonite Sneasler coming. But yeah, those are like two of the really, really good leads. You can kind of mix and match anything. I think like putting Froslass next to either Milotic or King Gambit can be really valuable into Incineroar. But yeah, those are kind of your go-to leads. Sneasler King Gambit is also very, very good if you just want to apply offensive physical pressure right off the bat. So it's a very, very flexible team, and it's kind of based on what you're kind of seeing in team preview. But yeah, I think it's a great way to learn the team. It's a little bit more advanced, I would argue, but it is still a great team just to kind of learn how to play. This team has also succeeded at the highest levels of play, getting second in the largest Pokemon tournament of all time. So while I do think it's good for beginners, it has a ton of depth and it can take you to amazing heights. All right, so we do have an enemy weather team and we do have Victory Bell again for some reason. Okay, weather is a little bit annoying, but you can set up the Veil pretty consistently because they don't have a Mega ability. So we're still able to just lead this thing very freely. I also just want to lead Sneasler. I think Sneasler Froslass looks really incredible in this team. Outside of like Basculegion, but I think we can also deal with him. It's not a huge deal. Speaking of Basculegion, I am tempted to bring our King Gambit. I'm also tempted to bring our own Basculegion. To help with their Archaludon a little bit, but we do have to just be very careful not to proc him. I think we can just do these guys. Dragonite doesn't really have value, and Milotic is okay, but also at the same time isn't very good into a lot of the Pokemon. I think having King Gambit to put pressure onto enemy Basculegions is very, very important. You have to have a plan into them. Basculegion can be very obnoxious for all of our Pokemon, but also our Basculegion can be super obnoxious into them. Let's see what rank they are. 22 something? All right, sure. Let's see what they got. We've got Victory Bell and Archaludon, okay, into Froslass and Sneasler. We have some options here because the way Mega Evolution works, if we do go for the Mega Evolution, we guarantee get our weather and we can start going nuts. But we could also just start and set up our Veil, right? I think we can set up our Veil, and then I would like to go for a Fake Out into Victory Bell. And we can just set up the Veil, try to bulk down and just be annoying as possible. Now, if they switch in Pelipper, the Rain will activate and then our Mega Evolution activates. So this is a guaranteed Veil. You only really get it on... Okay, this is looking so lit. It's a Basculegion. That's okay. That's acceptable and fine. We're going to Mega Evolve. And again, I didn't want to proc. I think Archaludon can be a little bit tricky, very annoying. So I don't want to proc his stamina just because it's just not worth it. I don't want to have to deal with him getting that defense boost because he's already so annoying. So I'd rather just Fake Out this thing because he's kind of unknown. I don't know what he's going to do, and I don't really want to find out. So it seemed like an acceptable play. So Fake Out and Aurora Veil, which is like, I don't think you need to do it every game. I think this team is very flexible, but I think setting up the Aurora Veil only really benefits us, especially when it is so guaranteed. I can't believe I fought 2 Victory Bells. Like, I haven't seen this thing ever. So right here, Victory Bell does learn Sleep Powder. It is annoying. I kind of am tempted to just go for Shadow Ball into Basculegion to try and get the KO, try to put that pressure on, and then just go for Dire Claw into Victory Bell. I feel like that's acceptable. We're going to see the flip turn onto Sneasler, which is fine. The reason I also didn't want a Blizzard there is because I was afraid of Pelipper. Like, it is a little bit spooky. And And there he is. So I'm glad I didn't do that. It is still a little scary. The Victory Bell's a little scary here. Again, I don't know what it's doing. It's just bouncing up and down. All right, Shadow Ball, it's going to do a little bit, about half, exactly half. Exactly half, so they eat that citrus berry. Okay, fair enough, dude. And then we're going to get Dire Claw. Again, okay, cool. We get a crit on it, actually. I just want to, oh, and we get the sleep. That's insane. That's so lit. Okay, so we did just completely gut its innards out as well. We do have Rain to worry about, so we could potentially switch out here if we wanted to. I kind of want to keep the pressure on. Since we got that sleep, I might as well just go for Shadow Ball and Dire Claw here. I could go for Close Combat to get a speed boost. I don't think I need to do all that, though. I want to just remove Pelipper no matter what. I think Pelipper is really scary. I want to get my rain. I want to get my weather control as well. So we'll get this Dire Claw off. Cool. Oh, awesome. That's sick. I'll take it. I'll take it. I think also, like, I'm not going to lie, this team is pretty hacks positive. I think spamming Blizzard is really, really good. Dire Claw is strong. You're moving first a lot of the time, so it works out. I'll take it any day of the week. Okay. I am going to swap here into my King Gambit. I don't want to get hit with Last Respects. And then I think I'm just going to go for a... Let's go for a Close Combat into Victory Bell. The reason we're doing that is White Herb Sneasler is just so strong, and Unburden allows us to double our speed. So it may seem kind of silly to Close Combat a 3 HP Victory Bell, but it's just kind of worth it because next turn will guarantee outspeed that Basket Legion as well. And we'll see what he locks into here. I imagine it's just Last Respects. Victory Bell is going to withdraw. Also, another side effect here is if they do this, we have the Close Combat threatening into him. Is it going to be Last Respects and a Froslass? I think it is, yeah. This is just an amazing turn. This is so good. It was just such a safe Close Combat, though, because of White Herb. Like, it was just so good. Like, how could I not press Close Combat there? And again, they're locked into Last Respects here, so we know that we can safely potentially Sucker Punch. It's a little bit of a roll onto Basket Legion, depending on its bulk. So we might want to potentially pair it up with a Dire Claw, but they're just going to forfeit, so... There you go. That was quick, nice and easy. We set up the Veil. We got a little lucky with the Dire Claw, and we just kept the pressure on with the team. And that's kind of all you're asking for most of the time that you're playing this team. I think Sneasler Froslass is just such a potent and strong lead. And yeah, I think this team is like, it is a little bit tricky. It's not easy as the other ones, but I think that the central strategy and the central idea of the team are so strong that even though you can sometimes bring the wrong Pokemon or not play fully correctly, you're still just putting on a ton of pressure, and you do have this very reliable and consistent strategy that you can follow to lead you to victory. Just remember, if you fight Charizard, bring Dragonite. So the next team I have for you is Aaron Cybertron Zhang's Sableye Archaludon team. Now, I think this team is... It's a menace in the current metagame, but I also think at a base level, it is very, very effective at what it does, and it's relatively easy to play. Your main idea here, like for the simplest way to play this team, is to turn Archaludon into an absolute juggernaut. So you're going to lead Sableye plus Archaludon usually, and you're just going to set up the screens. Archaludon is incredible in the meta right now. He's very, very slept on. Well, not really slept on anymore, but I think Aaron just made a really, really good textbook team that can just take you to high levels, but that also can help you really learn valuable things about the current competitive metagame, right? Like learning, about speed control or about support from Sableye, right? I think it's a very valuable team. It also just is pretty simple because it makes Archaludon so difficult to kill that even if you make a mistake or you mess up, he might just not faint. He might just still be chilling there, unable to be defeated. So let's break down the team. So Archaludon is going to be our star. He's more important than the Mega. He's more important than anything. Archaludon is going to be spamming those Electro Shots to try to help set himself up. Now remember, this move can only be used in the rain, but luckily we have Rain Dance and we have Pelipper. So Electro Shot is going to be our best electric stab. I also think what makes Archaludon so disgusting is there's not a lot of electric type Pokemon in the format or electric type moves, so having this valuable coverage on your Steel Dragon feels pretty good. Dragon Pulse is again our consistent Dragon Stab, and Flash Cannon is our consistent Steel Stab. Protect is very important because you do want to get leftovers turns when you can. Now let's break down Sableye. Sableye is mainly here to set up screens and to be annoying as possible. Setting up the screens is very easy because not many Pokemon can even KO this Pokemon, and if they do, they're probably fairy types, but we have the Roselli Berry for that, so we're able to defensively take those fairy moves at least one time, set up Light Screen, set up Reflect, maybe set up a Rain Dance, and we're chilling. Quash is really, really valuable as well because it does allow, it does make that Pokemon go last. So really, really fast Pokemon that are like Scarfed, or just if Tailwind's up, he can kind of break the game and slow them down for our other Pokemon. Now, the Rain mode is really, really solid here because Rain is so important to the team. We have a lot of Pokemon that abuse it. Let's talk about Dragonite first. Let's just keep going down. Mega Dragonite is our Mega here, but I don't think he's even that important to bring in most cases. I think the strength of this team comes from those first 4 Pokemon, but we have a Mega nonetheless. Tailwind is super valuable to help speed up our guys to get that guaranteed speed control. Hurricane is a strong stab move. Draco Meteor does insane damage, and Flamethrower is really good coverage. I feel like Dragonite is just mostly here to deal damage and to be bulky. So it makes a lot of sense to me. He is very, very fast naturally. So I think being able to use his natural bulk of multi-scale and the screens just allow him to kind of turn into this just fast, really hard-hitting demon. Then we have Pelipper. Pelipper is mainly here for support to give us the rain, but it can do a lot of damage with both Hurricane and Weather Ball, which are its stab moves. Weather Ball obviously changes its move depending on the weather. But then Tailwind and Wide Guard are also very useful. Wide Guard to protect you from the ever-present spread moves, and then Tailwind. Having 2 Tailwind users may seem a little redundant and a little weird, but having both is really, really important as it allows Archaludon and the rest of the team just to outspeed really big threats. But yeah, Pelipper has no protect. It's just mainly here to just do as much damage as possible. It's trained as defensively as possible. And yeah, it's just meant to support the team. And Citrus Berry will keep it alive longer. Basculegion is one of the best Pokemon in the entire format. Having him as a cleanup squad is really, really good on this team, especially with screens. A lot of Pokemon can actually fail to KO him, such as King Gambit. When you have a Reflect Up, Basculegion no longer dies to Sucker Punch. So I think he is enabled both by screens and also by the rain. He's able to do so much damage with these water type moves, and then Last Respects is just an amazing checkmate move. Especially with Choice Scarf adaptability. He's going to be moving first, doing lots of damage. And then finally, we have Sinestcha. Sinestcha is just here to heal everybody. Just make our bulky Pokemon bulkier with the screens, and that's really it. Cassib Berry allows it to take a potential Last Respects later in the game, but otherwise its moveset is pretty normal. It's got the healing move of Life Dew. Matcha Gotcha has its Stab Grass move, Rage Powder to pull the moves to Sinestcha, and then Trick Room if we so need it in certain situations. I feel like this team is just like, it's just so forgiving and so strong right now in the current metagame. I think pairing the main leads you're going to want to be going for are going to be like Archaludon plus Sableye, Pelipper plus Archaludon, Pelipper Basque. Like, it really is kind of your oyster. But if you don't know what to do, Sableye Archaludon is the way to go. I'll obviously link Aaron's video down below. He breaks it down much better than I do, and he does play a lot of games with it. But we'll also play a game showcasing how to use it. Again, shoutouts to Aaron for making this incredible team. All right, so we're playing against a Mega Froslass, potentially Mega Scovillain team here. I think Sableye Archaludon can go the distance. I want to bring Pelipper because we do want rain control. And now the question is, do we want heals? Do we want more offense? Or do we want potential more support and our Mega Evolution? All are pretty justified and all are pretty fire. Sableye looks really incredible here, though. Sableye looks like it's going to go on Demon Time. I think I'm going to bring Sinestcha because I think the healing is more valuable. And I think it will allow us to just kind of trade a little bit more freely in the face of like Garchomp and even Froslass. We're able to just take hits and just fire back with some big electro shots potentially. Also, their weather control is much easier for us to take control of the weather with Rain Dance and an actual Pelipper. So we'll see what they're cooking today. All right, it's going to be King Gambit and Froslass. I mean, that feels just incredible, no? Like, we have so many options here. We really could just Rain Dance. We could also set up one of the potential screens here just to start off fine. I think we might want to just Light Screen and Protect. That doesn't seem bad to me either, because I don't want to take a hit from King Gambit if he's just hitting, well, then is it just Reflect, actually? I think Froslass, they're both, it kind of depends on his moveset. Let's go for Light Screen Protect. Because then we can fish out what they're trying to do with their... Okay, they are going to Mega Evolve turn 1. So we could have went for the Rain Dance, but I think I'd rather take just a more passive play because I do think Archaludon is our entire team, and it's just about protecting this guy as much as humanly possible here. So Froslass is going to attack. And also, if Archaludon is getting hit by Froslass first, it does give us a stamina boost. Because I think I am going to press Rain Dance next turn. So I'll take the stamina boost and be able to trade. And we can see what he's going to do here. He might double Sableye as well. We're going to see the Blizzard. That makes sense. Blizzard is definitely what he's going to press. What's he going to press with King Gambit, though? Is it going to be Kowtow into Sableye? It's going to be Swords Dance. Okay. That's a little horrifying. That's a little not fun. All right, let's set up Reflect then. He's a little bit scary here. And then let's just go for Flash Cannon into Froslass. We're going to leave King Gambit alone. We're going to have to deal with him next turn. But I think just getting the Reflect up is probably the most valuable thing we could do. Now we're seeing the Aurora Veil. Okay, fine. If we just Rain Danced Electroshot at turn 1, we were in a goated spot. But hopefully we can still prevail with the power of Archaludon here. Okay. He's going to go for Iron Head into Sableye. That should probably KO him. Little guy down. That's okay. That's fine. That's fine. Because now we get to bring in Pelipper. We'll take Weather Control. The interesting thing here is more like... Actually, I don't even know. I mean, they could Sucker Punch. I think the crazy part here is I think we can Weather Ball Electroshot, and I don't think either of our Pokemon can faint here. I want Tailwind at the same time, but I think we can just take a Sucker Punch with this Pelipper because the Pelipper is so bulky that we're able to just eat the Sucker Punch, heal with Citrus Berry, and then eat a potential Shadow Ball as well. I hope. I mean, because I think Reflect is just too goated. I think Pelipper is also just naturally very bulky. Like, he can do it. We're actually going to see the Sucker into Archaludon, which only does half, which I'm so down for. And are they just going to go for the Raw Blizzard in the Rain? And they are, and they're going to double hit. Archaludon's still eating though. He's still prevailing. And no freezes, thank God. I think this should be enough to KO the King Gambit. And we did get +2 defense. We might actually, even though our turn 1 was so bad, I think that we might be able to power through this guy. He kind of ate that though. He kind of ate that hit, which I didn't love. He ate that one real well. We're going to get this Weather Ball. Oh my God. Oh yeah, they do have Aurora Veil too. We're fighting against the screens. Okay. Okay, so now I'm imagining... Let's set up Tailwind. Step 1, Tailwind, right? Step 2, Protect. I did forget about the Aurora Veil a little bit there. Okay. So I think that they probably just continuously press Sucker Punch from now on because they are at risk of fainting to any move we throw. So I think if this turn we just play it a little bit safe, we Protect... We throw in the Tailwind, I think we might be able to get away with this. If they Kowtow, obviously it's a really bad spot, but they're just so pressured right now, so they are just going to go for the double up. Well, they might have Sucker Punch Pelipper, but we do see the Shadow Ball and Archaludon, so now we get this beautiful Tailwind off with Pelipper, which feels amazing. And now I think it's time to Electroshot their Froslass and just swap to Cinny. I'm debating which one to Electroshot. Removing King Gambit is obviously makes a lot of sense, but my fear would be that they Sucker Punch Archaludon and Shadow Ball it. That's why I would prefer to just target down Froslass with Electroshot. But if they don't do that, I would always want to remove King Gambit as soon as possible. I'm just going to go for Froslass though. Again, if they do read a Kowtow Cleave, it is pretty bad for us, but that's the nature of King Gambit, right? You got to just get your turns right against this guy. He's a demon, especially when he's the Swords Dance version. Because I think they are just going to Sucker, though. We're going to see the Protect on the Froslass. Okay. Is it a Sucker onto Pelly or a Sucker onto Archaludon? It's a Sucker onto Pelly. Wow, that's amazing. Okay, so we get a free boost onto Archaludon. And now next turn, we have a potential Electroshot into King Gambit for free without much punish. Now, granted, they could Protect King Gambit, which would be annoying. But we saw Iron Head. I wonder if they just don't have Kowtow. Okay, we lose Light Screen. That's okay. I could just Life Dew pretty freely here, and I think I'm going to do that no matter what. And now the question is, who is taking the Electroshot? He could also maybe not have Protect. There is that option. Because we saw Iron Head, Swords Dance, Sucker Punch. So are we saying no Kowtow? I think I'm going to go for King Gambit here. I really want him out of here. And I think the Life Dew is really safe because we're going to eat the Sucker Punch, and then we'll heal up. Life will be good, and we'll be happy. This is a crazy one. This is like vintage Archaludon here. They're gonna go into Basculegion. Okay, this is all acceptable. We're gonna get the Electroshot off. They didn't even go for Sucker Punch, which I think is fair. I mean, because they probably they don't want to risk the Rage Powder, but this is awesome. This is so lit. All right, Electroshock comes through. King Gambit has been removed from the game. I wish we Machagotcha'd, but that would have been kind of a crazy play. But also at the same time, it's like we could have Machagotcha'd. We could have done a lot of damage, but I think we don't need to. Archaludon is still in such a goated spot. He's almost back to full HP from the Life Due the Hospitality. He's at 192. We don't have our screens, but we have our healing, and they lost their Aurora Veil as well. The scary part is Sash Basculegion, but at the same time, we took a Sucker Punch, we took a Blizzard, I believe. I think we're +2 defense. Basculegion isn't going to be doing that much damage to our Archaludon. If they go to Froslass, I think I just slam Pelipper every single time, guaranteed here. 100%, right? Because how bulky is our Archaludon? He's at +2 defense. That's enough. Do we still have Tailwind as well? We do. Wow. Okay, yeah, I'll switch to Pelipper, and I think I'll just go for... Both are fun to hit. I'm more afraid of Bask, like, big picture-wise, but also I think Pelipper can live both hits. If he's Sash, that's where I would really love to hit him. But also just removing Froslass might be good. I'm going to go for Froslass. But maybe it was supposed to be target Basculegion because maybe he can't protect. But I also think on the Froslass teams, they usually run like a defensive Berry or Sash or something. Okay, please double protect. Please. Oh my gosh. Okay. I got swagged on a little bit. But it's okay. We took control of weather. I don't think Pelipper can die either because he only does have one last respects boost. And the damage he'll do to Archaludon will be actually laughable. So let's see it. Last respects into Pelly. Pelipper lives, just like I expected. I'm wondering what item is on it though. I mean, it could be Sash. It really could be. Tailwind's petered out. Let's go for Tailwind again. And then I think I'm just going to go for... I think they might switch out Froslass, to be honest. What could they have in the back? I thought they had Garchomp, right? They do have Garchomp. Scoville and Garchomp Sneasler. We could take a guaranteed KO here by going for Dragon Pulse. Because we have enough boosts, right? We're +2. We're +3. Obviously, I think we should try to Tailwind. I think Tailwind is really good. And then I think we'll just go for Dragon Pulse into Froslass because I think they might just swap into Garchomp or potentially Sneasler, or we get the KO into Froslass. All good things. So Last Respects is going to come through on Archaludon. We do not care about that whatsoever. Look at how much that did. And then they're going to go for a Blizzard in the Rain, but it doesn't hit Archaludon this time. It does hit our boy Pelipper, though, but Pelipper goes down. Okay, that's a little sad. But okay. It's got to be Sash Basculegion, if I had to guess. Okay. We could have went for Electroshock, but I didn't want to blow my turn into potential Garchomp coming in, so... This team really does just take forever. It's a long, grueling fight. But now we have Kasib, Berry, Sinesha here. If their last Pokemon Sneasler, I feel really good. Honestly, if their last Pokemon is Garchomp or Sneasler, I feel amazing. I don't really care what it is. It's going to be Sneeze. Because we have so much defenses, dude. I think we do want to KO Sneasler, though. Okay, so we have another turn of Rain. I think this is the easiest Trick Room of our life. And then I think we just go for Electroshot into Sneasler, 100%. Because Basculegion cannot kill Sinesha. They have to double into Sinesha to get the KO because of our Kasib Berry. And if they double into Sinesha, that means we get to hit them with Archaludon. The only way we could possibly lose would be a crazy crit. So it is going to be Scarf Basculegion. Good to know. I just let it do all this damage for fun. And then they're going to go for Dire Claw. They're going to go for Close Combat in Archaludon. He does not care, dude. He simply doesn't care. This is textbook Arch gaming where it's like he just can't feint because his defense is so high. And I think that's why this strategy has been so potent and solid in the current metagame and why you're seeing it all over ladder. I still wanted to feature it though because I think it's a great place. Like, if I'm talking about really strong, good teams for beginners, like I can't not include this one because it is such a good team for people to try out and kind of learn how to play the game using it. So Archaludon just went God mode here. This was just a perfect Archaludon game. And then now all that is left is a fish in Trick Room with a Choice Scarf. There's nothing he can do about it. Forfeit? No, forfeit is crazy work. He's still fighting us out. There it is. There it is. There it is. And that's how you use the team. You just keep funneling HP in Archaludon. You protect those screens. You fight for the weather. And the team is just unstoppable if you're able to do those things. And finally, the last team I wanted to share with you is just a very, very solid Sun team. This team was recently used by several Italian players in the most recent Victory Road, and I feel like it's just such a solid and good version of Charizard that I feel like I have to share it. I think in general, Charizard is a very easy mega to play. There is some nuance with Weather Wars and when to mega and when to set up the Sun, but for the most part, he just does big damage. That's his thing. He sets up the Sun, and he hits you with fire type moves. Couldn't be more simple than that. And I think a lot of the synergies on this team are just about enabling Charizard to be Charizard. And Charizard's also really good at helping his friends out, right? This team is all about spamming those big, juicy spread moves. We got Rock Slide, we got Earthquake, we got Hyper Voice, and we got Heat Wave. 4 of our Pokemon have spread moves, and the other 2 just deal insane damage. So again, this team was made by Fede Campo, Mattia, and Justin. They all did very, very well with it in that tournament. And yeah, let's break this one down. So the Mega Aerodactyl is kind of a weird choice, but I think the way the meta has progressed and the way that it's kind of like the way it is with Scarf Vasculegion and all these fast Pokemon, Mega Aerodactyl is extremely valuable right now. It hits the same speed stat as Shadow Rider, which is 222 in game, which is just absolutely insane. So you can actually outspeed every single Scarf Vasculegion you face, which is really valuable, and in this meta is huge, right? So I think the Aerodactyl is a key part of this team, and it's really good second mega to have. It makes your Charizard matchup pretty good, but also what's really cool about Aerodactyl is you don't even need to mega him for him to be useful. You can just bring him along for the ride. He still is very fast. You do have to be a little bit careful, but then you can just set up Tailwinds and have your Charizard sweep as well. So the Mega Aerodactyl is dealing big damage. Garchomp is actually a bulky Citrus Berry set with a little bit of speed control. Dragon Claw and Earthquake are for sure on Garchomp every single time, but then Rock Tomb is very interesting, but it allows our Garchomp to outspeed other Charizards, potentially slow them down for our Charizard, or just in general, getting a speed drop on anything can be so huge for Pokemon like Charizard or Aerodactyl. Charizard or Sylveon. Even Aegislash as well can be a little bit speedy, as you see here. He's very fast to abuse Tailwind and also to abuse those Rock Tombs. Charizard, like I mentioned earlier, he's all about just dealing as much damage as possible. A lot of the time on this team, I think you can just click the spread moves and just that's enough, right? Like lead Garchomp plus Charizard, press Heat Wave Earthquake, and see what they do to you, right? Like you can just deal so much damage. Obviously, there's a lot more nuance to that, but I think at the end of the day, it's just about trying to set up positions where you're able to do that and you don't get punished, right? And Charizard's great at that. He shuts down a lot of the Pokemon that cause Garchomp many issues, and Garchomp shuts down a lot of the problems he has. So pairing them together is just godly. I think also what's really cool about all these Pokemon is they're very naturally bulky. Like even Basculegion, Aegislash, Sylveon, they're very bulky Pokemon. So you're able to switch more freely and easily if you're in a tight spot. You also have pretty solid priority. Sylveon, Basculegion, and Aegislash all have pretty strong, potent priority moves. Sylveon, again, is just all about spamming that Hyper Voice. Hyper Beam is just a nuke. If you need to KO something, you just one-shot it, obviously at a fault. And that Fairy Feather gives you that extra damage that you really need. Basculegion is incredible for setting up checkmates and endgames, so I think he's just a good addition on any team. It may seem kind of silly to put Basculegion on a Sun team, but at the same time, he's mostly pressing last respects, so it just kind of works out, or you can play him in the early game, or with just Mega Aerodactyl. You don't actually have to bring the Sun, so I think he does fit this team incredibly well, and Aegislash is just the perfect switch-in. He has naturally insane defenses, right? Like 160 in each, that's the stat. 160. He's chilling. He can switch in on almost anything. He gives you a very good matchup into Floette. He can take any hit, and he's very forgiving. Now, he can be a tricky Pokemon to use because he obviously has stance change, so he swaps between the Blade and Shield form. But he is just about dealing as much damage as possible, and I feel like a lot of the time Aegislash can just come in, deal big damage, get off a Shadow Sneak, and then go down, and he's already done his job. I think pressing Poltergeist one time is usually enough. But obviously, he also has access to stuff like King Gambit, or Close Combat, so he can KO King Gambit, even through Triple Berry, because we do have Unnerve Aerodactyl. So it's a very strong combo right now. And I think this team is just one of the strongest in the game. So I think just running it gives you that advantage, and it can help you out. But yeah, these are all the spreads. Everything's just like relatively fast with as much bulk as you can possibly put into it. All these spreads are taken from Fede Campo's Aridos team, but slightly modified. to fit the team that he did end up using in Victory Road. So yeah, I think this team is really solid. And at the end of the day, it's all about just pressing spread moves and Tailwind. So let's hop into some games and I'll show you what I mean. All right, so we're playing a Sun Mirror here, but this is the perfect game to show you what Mega Aerodactyl can do. So I think we're going to lead Aerodactyl. I want to lead Sylveon as well to put pressure onto Sableye, Floette. I mean, this just looks actually unstoppable. I also do like Aegislash quite a bit, and then I think we'll just bring Garchomp. Basculegion is also really solid, but I think I'd rather just have the speed control and the flexibility that Garchomp provides, and also he's just so bulky with that Citrus Berry. A lot of the time, like, everything I'm bringing just deals big damage. And I think sometimes, especially when you start out playing and when you're playing the game in general, like, having access to the support Pokemon is great, but sometimes it's all about the damage. Like, just being able to put pressure on with those spread moves and just have to say, hey, you have to react to my damage and you have to react to my game plan, which is just outspeeding you and hitting you. But you have to stop me. And so I think that playing like that can be really easy, and it is, sometimes it's low-key fun. It's low-key rewarding and pretty fun. All right, 2307. Sounds good. What are you going to lead? We're going to see Sableye and Charizard. Now, this feels amazing. Now, obviously, one of the downsides here is we can get Wisped on Aerodactyl, but I just don't think that matters too much because we are just going to be dealing so much damage with Rock Slide because we are Mega. And also, we can just put a ton of pressure on... You know what we could do, too? We also could just not Mega Evolve. We didn't even bring our other Mega, but I think we could just not Mega Evolve so this guy doesn't get to eat his... Yeah, let's not Mega Evolve and Rock Slide so that he doesn't get to eat his berry. Because most Sableyes are going to be Roselli Berry. He could also hit us with a potential Fake Out, but he's not probably going to do that because he's protected. So he's actually just going to set up Reflect. This is amazing. This is so amazing. Now, we covered for Wisp, or we didn't cover for Wisp, but we did Fear Wisp. But I'm so down to just smack this dude with a Rock Slide and a Hyper Voice here because he has no Roselli Berry. He can't live this hit. Simply impossible. We're just pressing spread moves. That's it. It's that easy sometimes. Hyper Voice. See you later, Sableye. Yeah. I'll see you, man. Wow. That was sick. Like, what is his counterplay? He, like, could have attacked, but at the same time, he would have just taken a Rock Slide. So that's not very fun either. I think one of Charizard's biggest issues is fighting into Aerodactyl. So having this Mega Aerodactyl is a big deal. And now Basculegion's going to come in, which is very annoying, but it turns out that Aerodactyl just simply outspeeds. So let's just put a ton of pressure onto Charizard right here with Rock Slide. And then if he decides to KO Sylveon, I don't think Sylveon can even faint. So we'll just potentially trade Hyper Voice and Rock Slide for Aerodactyl. Because again, we don't have a Sash. So that is the one downside to Mega Aerodactyl, is that it can get a little bit dicey. But I did want to also feature this team because it doesn't use Floette. I think Floette is kind of lame to get sometimes, so I wanted to give people teams that didn't involve Floette. So we have Sylveon, but this is even better because this is just so safe. There is nothing they can do to stop me right now. I mean, there is one thing, and that would be, of course, if my boy misses his moves. But it's looking like we'll probably at least get a guaranteed KO into Charizard, and if they decide to take the KO into Sylveon, we'll set up Tailwind next turn. But if they decide to take the KO into Aerodactyl, unfortunately, they're losing 2 Pokemon. It's Charizard X. It's Charizard X. Okay, I wish I Tailwinded down for sure, but that's not the end of the world. That's crazy, though. Okay, Rock Slide's coming through. That one caught me off guard. That one got me a little bit. What's he going to do? Temper Flare into Sylveon? I mean, we're going to eat that up, right? It's Temper Flare. It's not Flare Blitz. And then they're going to go for Basculegion Flinches. Okay, cool. And we're going to get the Hyper Voice off. Sick. And then I think we just go for Rock Slide again. And we have this in the bag, I'm pretty sure. I'm just trying to make sure. We could Tailwind. We could. I think that we just should, because then we just win with the guys in the back. Charizard X really caught me off guard. We could Quick Attack Rock Slide, but we still have to hit the Rock Slide, right? We do always have Shadow Sneak on Basculegion, though, so we technically don't need it. We'll just hit our moves. Honestly, I kind of want to fire off just a Hyper Beam here, just to be a little silly, have a little fun. Okay. Let's not miss this, but also if we miss this, it's okay, because we have Shadow Sneak. They're just going to Jet us. It does a lot. Admittedly, it does a lot. And we're going to hit Rock Slide. Nice. Nice job, Aerodactyl. You did your job. Okay, so Basculetion's down. And now we just have to quick attack and press whatever. I don't think any Pokemon can beat us in this situation, right? Because if it's Sneasler, we have Aegislash who's chilling, and Garchomp. It's going to be Sinistcha. Okay. Admittedly, a little bit more annoying, but also not really because they did just protect. So I think we can just press Tailwind here, and we can press Hyper Voice. And there's not too much that could go wrong for us. There's a little bit that could go wrong for us. If they get the double protect and press Trick Room, that could be a little annoying. But they didn't even try. So let's get him, Sylveon. Show him what's up. There's no light screen, unfortunately, for them. Sylveon sets up that Hyper Voice. Charizard goes down. And now it is just Cinny versus the world. We're going to get hit with the Matcha Gotcha, but I think it's a little bit too late. It's not even coming close. It's not even close. We could play this really safe. We could protect Aerodactyl. We could double protect here, play it really slow. I don't think we need to. I think we can just let Aerodactyl faint, and they're actually just going to forfeit. So there you go. That's simply how to use the team. It's just that easy sometimes. You just spam Rock Slide, and you just press spread moves, and that's all you have to do. So those are all the teams I have for you today. Please let me know down below if you appreciated this video. If you're going to use them, let me know how they go. I want to see you succeed. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.